You have questions?
What is slashing?
We have answers.
Slashing is like that, you know?
Mm-hmm. And there's a penalty for that?
Yeah, you do that, you go to the box, 2 minutes by yourself, and you feel shame, and then you get free.
This is CBJ in 30.
Anything you folks want to know about the fascinating world of pro hockey? Here we go.
Tweet your questions by using the hashtag CBJIN30.
We'd like to remind you folks, keep your questions within the boundaries of good taste.
Here's your host, Bob McGilligan.
And welcome to another edition of CBJ in 30 today as the Blue Jackets are back at home. You can see here I am in the broadcast booth back at Nationwide Arena. Blue Jackets getting set to practice actually here today. Let me just adjust a little bit. Okay. A little better. I think it's a little better anyway. The Blue Jackets getting set to practice today here at Nationwide Arena after returning late last night from Los Angeles. Well, not late, to be honest with you. That 1 o'clock game in L.A., 4 o'clock Eastern time, that really helped yesterday. That allowed the Blue Jackets to get back home by 12:30 last night and have it be a semi-normal day, if you will. I mean, normally you play in L.A. late, and then your choices are A, stay overnight and fly the next day, or B, fly the overnight, fly the red eye, if you will, and get back early in the morning. And when you do that, your next day is a complete waste anyway. You can't do anything. And the Blue Jackets need to do some things today because they have a game tomorrow against the Ottawa Senators. So this is the exact scenario that I talked about last week where Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday in San Jose with no games. You better soak that in because then it was 3 games in not even 4 days. What was it, 3 games in 66 hours or something? Did I see that Aaron Portzline had in the Columbus Dispatch? I didn't do the math on the number of hours, but he had a game, night game Thursday, night game Friday, afternoon game Sunday. So that's, that's pretty quick turnaround on all of that. And then you're home today with a practice day, and then tomorrow you have to play right away again against the Ottawa Senators. So it's a busy time right now for the Blue Jackets, who after tomorrow will get Wednesday and Thursday before they have to return to the ice on Friday against the Toronto Maple Leafs. But the California trip, let's look at the road trip overall. The 4 games, Ottawa, San Jose, Anaheim, Los Angeles. That trip didn't go the way the Blue Jackets wanted it to go by any means. They went 1-3 on the trip. The lone win coming in San Jose, where they came from behind twice to win the game against the Sharks. So overall, it seems that that's not very good. 1-3, not very good. But that's not the overall picture. The overall picture is where the standings are right now. Or not the standings, that's not the way to put it, where the record is right now. After 8 games, you have 4 wins. You have 4 losses. Mediocre, right? 500. Mediocre. However, and Jody Shelley said this to me yesterday on the way to the airport from the arena, and he's absolutely right. Here's the way you have to really put that into perspective. Number one, you're not even close to being a healthy club right now. Not even close. You went into the trip missing Brandon Dubinsky and Boone Jenner, the 2 guys that have the realistic chance of playing within the next few weeks. Nathan Horton is such a question mark. I'm not even going to count him anymore. Not even when we talk about injuries from now on, he's off my list until there is some sign that things are progressing in the right way for him. He's off my list. So Jenner and Dubinsky going into the trip, those are the 2 guys you're going to get back within the next couple of weeks. You've got to hang on. You've got to get through it without those guys. Those are already 2 big blows, obviously, right? Then you didn't have Ryan Murray playing until yesterday. So one of your top defensemen has been out of the lineup. Then you go on the trip, and Matt Calvert takes a hit on Friday night against Anaheim. And then he's so-so from there. Cam Atkinson winds up getting a skate in the eye and down his cheek and can't play yesterday because his eye's swollen shut. He's got 30 stitches in his face. Then Calvert goes out and tries to take warm-up yesterday, can't go. So he's out of the lineup. And before yesterday's game is all said and done, Nick Foligno's taken out on a stretcher. So does it get much worse than all of that? I hope not. And when it's all over, after going through all of that, you've taken the one and only trip that you have to take to California for the season to face arguably three of the best teams in the National Hockey League, in the Sharks, the Ducks, and the Kings. You've taken that trip. You're at 500. Certainly not the end of the world. You would love to be over 500. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's okay to be mediocre 8 games in. But the facts are the facts. That trip is out of the way. There are other teams that are going to have to make that trip later in the season. And yes, you have to face all of those teams a second time. But the next time they're coming into your building, they're dealing with the travel, not you, which gives you at least a slight advantage in those games. So there is good to be taken out of the bad, no doubt. But the really good news about yesterday is that Nick Foligno got on the plane and came home with the team. Because when you see something like that happen, and thankfully it's not very often, even with Atkinson, he gets cut, and he's bleeding, he's holding his face, but he gets up and he skates over to the bench. So you know that, well, I guess you don't know. I know he wears a shield, so I was hoping that nothing got his eye, that skate didn't get his eye. It got his eyelid, as it turns out, but not his eye. So, when you see that, you just kind of feel like, okay, it's hockey. I mean, he's coming back. If it's not today, maybe it's tomorrow. If it's not tomorrow, maybe it's Tuesday. But when you see a guy go face down and not move, like he's out, that's scary. And then when you see the trainer start waving for other people, that's scary. And when you see the stretcher come out, that's really scary. So to watch Nick Foligno walk onto that plane yesterday was a very welcome sign. Very welcome. And, of course, his neck is sore, and he had his neck in a brace, and as you would expect. Now, when does he return to active duty? I couldn't tell you. Again, he's a hockey player. If he played tomorrow night, wouldn't surprise me in the least. Not in the least. I'm not saying he's going to. Don't take me out of context. I'm not saying he's going to play tomorrow. I'm just saying if he did, it wouldn't shock me. Stranger things have happened. Adam Cracknell got helped off the ice in Anaheim the other night. Couldn't even put any weight on his foot. And he was back within 5 game minutes. You never know. You never know. Cam Atkinson would have played yesterday if his eye wouldn't have been so swollen that he couldn't see. It's not really smart to go out and play when you can't see anything on this side of you. Because more than likely, guys won't take a run at this side. They'll come and take a run at this side. So it's just, obviously, there were a lot of things that weren't great about that trip, but the greatest thing is the trip is over. The team's at 500. And coming home and looking at a schedule now where you've got the Senators on Tuesday, the Leafs on Friday, and in New Jersey on Saturday. Now, anybody wins on any given night, and I'm not chalking up those opponents as gimmies of any kind. In fact, Ottawa beat the Blue Jackets the 2 Saturdays ago. So, it's not a gimme, but you are coming home to play at home against these teams, and you have a chance to regroup. And I think that may be the biggest thing for this team. You have a chance to kind of sit down here for a day, come out and have a practice here in a little bit, and go, okay, where are we at? Where do we need to go? What's going to happen next? So, all in all, bad but not terrible. How's that? Does that sum it up? Does that make the point? I mean, it's not the greatest situation you could be in, but it's far from the worst situation that you could be in. So yesterday's loss in Los Angeles, again, some things that weren't so great about it, like you lose. It winds up looking like it's a blowout game 5-2. It was anything but. The Blue Jackets were in it. They had a great start yesterday. They were dictating the pace of the game. They were dictating the flow of the game. They were doing everything proper. I thought the 5-on-3 is what took them out of their game. I thought the 5-on-3 just kind of took all the good work and moved it to the side for a little bit because they gave up that goal, and now all of a sudden it's like, all of that work. We make 2 mistakes within a 2-minute span, take 2 penalties, and now we're Now we're looking at a tie. And then, after that, that 70s line just imposed its will. It really did. Jeff Carter, what do you have, 4 points? Tyler Toffoli had 4 points. Tanner Pearson had 2 goals. What are you going to do? They were the line that you had to stop. And if you can't stop them, they're going to beat you. And that's what happened. Quite honestly, that's what happened. They had the Blue Jackets guessing in many ways. You look at the Toffoli goal where he was posted up. As you're looking at the net, he was posted up to the left of the net, and he sneaked that little shot behind Sergei Bobrovsky, something that Bobrovsky normally doesn't give up. He's normally over there to make that save. But why did that happen? Because you've got Jeff Carter right in the slot, and he faked the shot, and Bobrovsky bit on it, and he went down into the butterfly, and I mean down to where the pads were on the ice. And once you go down and the pads are on the ice, that means the skate blades are off the ice. And, if there's a little opening in the 5-hole and the knees are still bent a little bit, that means that the skate blade is still on the ice. And then if you have to push, you can push. When you go all the way down, you can't do that. And he bit on the fake of the shot of Jeff Carter, and why wouldn't you? I would. I mean, Jeff Carter has a great shot. You can say anything about him that you want to, and you're probably correct in all facets, but he's got a great shot. And Bobrovsky bit on it. He went down, and then when Carter passes, he can't recover quickly enough to move over and make the play. It's a great play on the part of the Los Angeles Kings. It really is. It was a great pass, and it was a great shot because there still was only a small window for Toffoli to put the puck in. And then you had the Dwight King goal really hurt, the one that shoots straight up in the air and everybody loses sight of it or didn't react to it when it came down. You've got 4 players around that puck, and it winds up in the net. That was the most disappointing one. And that made it 3-1, and that made it tough. It made it really tough right there. But, all in all, the game was closer than the final score looked. And once the Foligno incident happened, it kind of took on a different feel and a different tone too. So, anyway, 4-4, home from California, set to take on Ottawa tomorrow night. Let's get to your questions, and you can tweet those to me at Bobby Mac Sports. You can use the hashtag CBJN30 as well. Jody agrees. She says, after Nick was hurt during the game, I just didn't care how the score went. I was concerned for him. Yeah, it's just it's hard. It's hard for me, especially because when you have a guy as likable as Nick Foligno is, and you see that through his interviews, and if you've ever talked to him one-on-one or just the way he is in regular life, he is such a likable guy, and he's such one of those guys that you root for. And when it happens to a guy like that, it's even tougher. Because really there's nobody that's as happy about life as Nick Foligno. And then all of a sudden he's the guy, sprawled out face down on the ice. So it's tough. And I understand what you mean. You still want the team to win the game somehow, some way, but there are more important things in life than winning a single game. And how about the health of individuals, especially individuals that you're pretty close to and you like a lot, and are good people, really good people. Let's see. Stacy says, thoughts on Ryan Murray's debut yesterday. Did you think that he looked like the Murray from last season? I did. I did think he looked like the Ryan Murray from last season. I remember the poke check that he made at the blue line on Jeff Carter that forced the play offside when it looked like Carter was about to walk around him and get a good scoring chance. That was, to say vintage Ryan Murray is vintage from his rookie season, but I thought he was good. He was solid. As a matter of fact, I talked to him after the game last night, and this is what Ryan Murray had to say after the loss in Los Angeles yesterday.
Well, Ryan, the result of this game, not what you wanted as a team, I understand that, but for you to be playing your first game of the year, how did you feel out there? Because to me, you looked about as normal as you ever have. What was the feeling like for you?
Early on, I just tried to feel the puck a bit and make real simple plays and just kind of get my legs under me, get a few hits, feel it out a bit, and then as the game went on, I kind of got a little more confident with the puck and with my decisions and started seeing more too, just being able to, see past that first forecheck or, just being able to read the play just a little bit quicker. And that's just from being out there. And the first period, I just really tried to keep it really simple. And I'm glad that I got the ice time that I did tonight. And I tried to just do that and contribute whichever way that I could.
These guys are the defending Stanley Cup champions, and you can see why with the strength that they have. Their top line, that Jeff Carter line, was playing really well coming in. They had another good day today. How tough are they just to account for all of those guys?
Yeah, they're all good. They got a lot of weapons. Everybody plays hard. Everybody plays the same way on their team, and I think they got good leadership, and you can see all their guys. They don't stop. They work hard, and they're a big team and a skilled team. So when you put all that together, they're going to have a good chance to win every single night. But I thought that we played right there with them, and we played hard, and there's always positives. You always want to win, and it's a negative to lose, but there's always positives that you can take in every game.
Well, you're right. You were right there with them, and not to make an excuse, but you start running out of bodies. You're already down one forward to start the game. Then the unfortunate thing that happens to Nick there. So really, you guys were battling in many ways in this game, weren't you?
Yeah, we don't want to make any excuses or anything, and we hope the best for Nick, and I hope nothing bad happens there. But we battled hard. I'm proud of the guys, and I'm proud of the way that everybody played against a great team. But obviously, we're going to want to win when we see them next.
And I think that's the best thing that Ryan Murray said in that whole deal. Obviously, we're going to want to win when we see them next. So he knows and acknowledges they've got another shot at this team, for sure. And that'll be at Nationwide Arena. So that's, they'll have to wait. But sometimes the wait is worth it. We'll have to see. What is my next question here? This one coming from Nick Mazesco. And Nick wants to know, which defenseman has impressed you the most so far? Well, Nick, I've got here's my answer to you. And this is not – look, Jack Johnson, Fedor Tutin, James Wisniewski, they are who they are. They are veteran NHL defensemen. You know the kind of game you're going to get out of every one of those guys every night. So I'm always impressed with the way they play. I'm going to take them out of the evaluation here because I always know what they're going to bring. And I'm going to take this from a different angle for you. I have really been impressed with Tim Erickson. And I'll tell you why I've been impressed with him. Because he came into camp knowing that he had to have a good camp to have a chance to be on this team. And he earned the spot. And then he's in the lineup up until yesterday. He's in the lineup on a regular basis, playing regular shifts with James Wisniewski. I don't think he's been a liability whatsoever. I think the offensive upside that he has, we've seen a little bit of, and I think you would see a lot more of the more that he plays. But yesterday, I'll tell you what I was really impressed with yesterday. 7 defensemen. He was the 7th guy. And they basically used him to run the point on the power play. And that is not an easy thing to sit for all of that time and then have to jump over the boards and go out and have to play a critical role like that. Timmy got his first NHL goal yesterday to put the Blue Jackets up 1-0. And the setup for the goal was fantastic. Ryan Johansson pounding a puck toward the net. Scott Hartnell posted up in front of Jonathan Quick with the defenseman on him. And Hartnell, the savvy veteran that he is, knowing that that puck's not going to go in the way it's coming, he had already started to turn the body, put the stick on the ice and angled it. Johansson's pass / shot pass, whatever you want to call it, hits a stick, immediately ricochets through the crease. And Tim Erickson, reading the play very well, busting in on the left side, there to pick up the puck and put it in the net. 59 NHL games, first NHL goal for Tim Erickson. I also spoke with him after the game yesterday.
Jim, the good news for you is you get your first NHL goal today. I'm sure it's tainted a little bit because of the outcome of the game, but, going in with 7 defensemen today, I don't know if you knew how much time you would get in this game or how it was going to work out, but it actually worked out quite well.
It's always nice. Of course, nice to get a goal, especially with, getting power play in this year. It's nice to chip one in, and and get a goal there. So it's obviously nice. But yeah, like you said, I knew I probably wasn't gonna play that much, and kind of a tough game to when you're not playing much. But obviously, we would have wanted a better result. But yeah, it wasn't great.
When you've been concentrating on your starts as a team, today's start was obviously much better than some of the last couple of games. It looked like you were really able to dictate what you wanted early in this game.
Yeah, I think we came out good. We were playing pretty good, and it's just a couple small mistakes, and they're a really good team, and they capitalized on it. So it was just a decent game, just a couple of small mistakes, I guess.
How tough is it when you see a teammate go down like you saw with Nick today and the way he has to be taken out?
Oh, that's very hard. It was, I got to try and focus on the game right after that. It's pretty hard too. You still got a game to play, and it's obviously not something you want to see. And it looked pretty bad, and hopefully he'll recover good.
How much are you looking forward to getting back home and just trying to regroup from this trip altogether?
Yeah, I mean, you always want to come back home and play some games back home. That's so exciting.
Thanks, Tim.
Tim Erickson right there talking after yesterday's loss in Los Angeles, where he picked up the first goal of his NHL career, as a matter of fact. Did you notice, and I noticed, I guess I notice it when I'm doing it, but the difference in the atmosphere in the dressing room, when you go in there after a win, you're talking in full voice and everybody's happy and they've just turned down the music so you can't talk. You go into the losing dressing room and I automatically shift into my golf voice as if I had to go on the Golf Channel and call a tournament later today. I guess I noticed I did it yesterday, but I didn't think about it. Playing it back kind of makes me laugh. Why is it like that? Well, because it's somber. Because nobody's happy about losing. And you don't want to be over there, have guys on the other side of the room and you're going, well, Tim, you got your first NHL goal. Hey, it's just it's just the way it is. But it's funny to listen back to it and hear it just to me. So thanks for sticking with me on that one, as a matter of fact. Next question coming in from Jacob Barker. Jacob wants to know, how will the Blue Jackets respond after a poor road trip to end the first month of the season? Well, again, Jacob, it was a poor road trip when you look at it 1-3. Against Ottawa, you were down 2-0, came back, tied the game, ended up losing. To me, that's the one game. You should have went 2-2, and that's the game you should have won. To me, looking back. Again, hindsight 2020. It's very easy to do. But, that was the one. That one hurt more to me than the other two losses. I mean, in Anaheim, they're playing great. They had won 6 in a row. We're going for their 7th in a row. It wasn't like they're a chopped liver to go up against in their own building. Did the Blue Jackets play hard enough in that game? Well, you can certainly make the argument no and have a leg to stand on. And then yesterday, you're already behind the 8 ball by dressing 7 defensemen. You're down a forward, and then you're dictating the play of the game, and all of a sudden they start to take over. They are the defending Stanley Cup champions. They have won the Stanley Cup 2 times in the last 3 years. That is not easy to do in today's game. You have to be a pretty darn good team. And, oh, by the way, their goaltender played out of his mind yesterday. I still can't believe that he gave up that goal to Mark Letestu that just barely went over his glove, because the other saves that he made were unbelievable. So that was a soft one, but there were a lot of hard ones that he made, for sure yesterday. So that is that. I see the Blue Jackets down on the ice right now. I also see Jeff Rimmer perched down there near the bench, and he's just tweeted that this is an optional practice, and most of the players are on the ice. In fact, I can tell you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Now I just lost count. There's like 16 guys out there. So that's pretty good. And Jeff says that Cam Atkinson and Boone Jenner are on the ice down there. I should be able to tell that from here. I used to be able to see that from here. I don't know. Anyway, so that's good to know. And they're just getting this practice started right now. And Brad Larson The assistant coach is over at the drawing board, and he's going to run this optional practice for the Blue Jackets. So, again, that is good to see those guys. And I'm telling you, Boone Jenner has been out on the ice. He's been skating at the end of practices. That's a sooner than later thing, getting him back in the lineup, which will be huge. I mean, especially with the injury situation right now. But that's going to be really big to get Boone Jenner back into the lineup without question. I'm very much looking forward to him getting back in the lineup, as a matter of fact. So, guys are on the ice, getting ready to go here today, and getting set to take on the Ottawa Senators tomorrow. Let me see. Let me get something else here. Brad Fox. Cam and Calvert both had their faces rearranged this weekend. What's the worst injury you've sustained doing your job? Not much, Brad. Not much. It's a great question. I don't think, if I say I never have, I better knock on wood, right? I don't think I ever had. What, straining a vocal cord? Calling a goal, straining a vocal cord? I don't know. The worst thing about my job is you can get a cold and it affects your performance and your ability to do your job. That's the worst thing about my job. You lose your voice. I mean, you get sick, you get hoarse, you lose your voice. What good are you? Not much, right? Not a bad job when it's all you have to worry about is not losing your voice. Don't you agree? Corey Druin. What do you think the chances that Alexander Winberg gets sent down to Springfield for a few games and possibly calling up Sean Collins? Well, Corey, I don't know. I think that I want to say, without any knowledge or any talking, I can understand your question. And the reason I can understand it is because Sean Collins is a bottom six player. It's probably what you're looking for right now, somebody to play in the bottom six. And here I go classifying. Like last week, I just complained about you guys classifying players, right? Go figure. But Sean Collins is more of a grinder, big-bodied grinder type guy, third, fourth line guy. So I can understand your question. Put Winberg there, let him play some top minutes, get some good flow going to his game, and bring up Sean Collins in the meantime. I understand that, but I also think that with Alexander Winberg making this team out of training camp, and yes, he started strong, and yes, he's faded a little bit, but he's a first-year player. He's a young player. I mean, that's what's going to happen. There are going to be peaks and valleys in your rookie year. And I think you go back and look at just about anybody that's played, and who comes out of the gate gangbusters and never stops being gangbusters? Nobody falls into that category. So, even though I understand the question, I don't see it. I don't see it. But then, stranger things have happened. I'm not a GM, and if I were, I probably wouldn't do it, because I also think that Alexander Winberg needs to work through any early season problems he's having in this league and figure it out. And I would give him more games to do so. I think then the question that does come into play with him and even Marco Dano somewhere down the line is, what kind of minutes do you want them playing every night? And do you reach a point where you feel that they go down and play top line minutes and get a lot of playing time is better than the minutes that they're pulling here? But first you have to have a healthy enough lineup to be able to even contemplate that, which this team does not. But when they do, is that something that's going to be thought of? I don't know. But there are times, and you see a lot of teams do this, where you've got your young guys playing on the third line and they're not getting a lot of minutes. And then they'll say, you know what? Why don't we have them go play top minutes in the AHL? And that's not a bad thing. It's not. Because you want them on the ice. You want them to be you want to basically say, hey, look, you're the best players on the team. We're looking at you like the best players on the team. We're going to give you the most minutes of anybody on the team. So go with it. Prove us right. Don't prove us wrong. Prove us right. So sometimes teams do that. I don't know if this team will get to that point with either or both of those players. I have no idea. But I'm just saying, once everybody's healthy, then you have to figure out how everybody fits into the puzzle without question. And I think Winberg, and again, this is my opinion. Nobody said anything to me about this. But if you have to paper transaction somebody out, somebody has to come off the active roster yesterday so that Ryan Murray can come on. Somebody has to come off so Murray can come on. And, it has to be a guy that doesn't have to clear waivers. So there are a lot of factors into that. So really, when you look at it, Dano hadn't played. You could have put Dano. You could have done that with him and let Winberg play. But I think that Alexander has struggled in his last couple of games. I think Todd Richards was at a point where he's probably going to scratch him and have him watch a game or two. So if that's the mindset, then you make the move they made yesterday. And even yesterday, when it was said that he was staying with the team, it's not like they were going to say at, 11 o'clock in the morning in California, 2 o'clock Eastern time, they're not going to say, hey, you're sent to Springfield, go out to LAX, get on a plane. What's the sense in that? His stuff's here. You're leaving after the game. So, there's no sense in running him right out of there. He's not going to get back for a game in Springfield yesterday afternoon. So, and then you have him around because if somebody has to be put on injured reserve, and I don't know, but if you would have to put somebody on injured reserve, then you've already got a body there that you can just call right back up and he's still practiced and all that stuff. So, that's the thought process behind that whole deal, to be honest with you. But again, I understand the question, I don't think it's a bad question. I don't see it. I don't see it yet. So that's my answer to that. I don't know if that satisfied you with that answer or if it explains it to you, Corey, but that's the way I see it. That's the view from the booth. How I see it here. All right, the Blue Jackets, again, they're on the ice. They're practicing right now. They'll take on the Ottawa Senators tomorrow night. Second meeting of 3 with the Ottawa Senators this year, and Ottawa won in their building 2 Saturdays ago. So a chance for the Blue Jackets to get back at them tomorrow night here at Nationwide Arena. That's a game that'll get underway at 7 o'clock tomorrow evening. So tomorrow, it'll be a game day, CBJ and 30. On game days, get your questions in early because I got a lot of things going on. I like to go over them early, if you don't mind. So that means I will talk to you tomorrow.
Talk to you later. Don't want to hear it again tonight. I'll talk to you later. Just save it for another guy. I'll talk to you later. Don't want to hear it again tonight. I'll just see you around.